Hey, and thanks for joining me today. I'm going to be sharing with you 3 ways that you can get some clarity and start moving forward when you have too many ideas. My name is Dominique D. Wilson, the founder of everythingSheTouches.com, and I help women to discover their purpose, own their story, and say yes to their calling by launching a blog as spiritual entrepreneurs. So, as I said, today I'm going to be talking about what to do when you have too many ideas. And the problem with this is if you're a highly creative person, your issue isn't coming up with ideas, right? You can come up with an idea for a business or a book or a project that you want to do left and right. The problem comes in with implementation. A lot of times we have so many ideas that it brings us to a standstill and we don't really move forward on anything. And it can make you feel frustrated. It can make you feel stressed out. It can make you feel like you're not living up to your full potential. And there is a solution to all of this. And so today I want to give you a couple tips that you can use to start fleshing out some of those ideas and getting clear on what exactly you're here to do so that you can take some steps to start moving forward. So before I get started in the tips, I want to ask you a quick question. Have you ever had so many ideas on something that you literally just got overwhelmed and couldn't get started on any of them? Post a comment below and let me know if you've ever been through this. I just want to know if this is relatable to you. Also, while you're at it, if you can share this out, if there's someone you know who is also dealing with this issue or who this might be helpful for, definitely share this on your timeline so that they can also get this information. So now moving into the 3 ways that you can start moving forward and get clear when you have too many ideas. I'll start with the first, which is to keep a brain book. Now this is a tip that I got from a teacher of mine many years ago, and she recommended us keep a little book with us while we're on the go. And this way you jot down ideas. How many of you guys can relate to you're driving in the car or maybe in the passenger seat where you're not really doing anything and you get this clear idea of something that is really awesome, and then by the time you get somewhere where you can actually write it down when you get home later, maybe you've forgotten half of it, or it's just it's not the same as it was earlier. So keeping this brain book with you, I'm going to show you one that I like to keep handy. One of these little things is perfect because it's small, it can fit in your purse. And what you do is when you get inspired, lightning strikes your brain, you just write down, or sometimes you just have a thought or a memory. Whatever it is, it's really cool to keep that brain book because you'd be surprised at how many brilliant things that you can come up with when you're still and you're not consciously doing anything. Now, as I said, this is about having too many ideas. So here's why I recommend having a brain book. For one thing, it helps you to recall later what your idea was, but it also helps you to see the connection, right? A lot of times when we have so many ideas, it can seem like we're all over the place and we don't know what our purpose is or what we're here to do or which thing to move forward on. And in the back of your mind, you know that all your ideas are kind of connected, but you can't really see that connection. Well, if you document them and keep this little brain book, you can flip back through that and you'll start to see the common ground. And maybe you don't have 5 million ideas. Maybe they're just a few different ways of looking at the same thing that you want to do. So that is a very important clarity piece for me. Some of my most brilliant ideas, like I said, have come to me when I was either on the train somewhere or in the passenger seat or going for a walk. Those times when you're still and you're just not really doing anything. So definitely get a brain book and use that. I got some notes here. Also, a brain book helps you to decrease the noise, right? The noise in your head. We get hit with, I think they said the average is 70,000 thoughts or something like that a day. That is a lot of thinking. Most of that is subconscious, so we're not really aware of all these thoughts that we're having. But having a brain book is going to help you to decrease the number of things you're thinking about. Because sometimes we can come up with something and we'll spend so much time agonizing over an idea that maybe we should have pursued or something we should be doing when it's just noise in our head. And so by having this kind of documented trail of thoughts, you can weed out what's most important, what's not most important, and decrease the amount of stuff that you're thinking about or that you're worried about constantly. So that's my first tip. As I said, we're talking about 3 ways that you can deal with having too many ideas and how to get some clarity so that you can move forward. So the first tip was to keep a handy dandy brain book with you. And the name brain book is terrible, so if you want to call it something else, definitely get creative. I couldn't come up with anything else. So the next tip is to keep a journal. Now, journaling daily is such a powerful tool, not only for your personal development, but for your spiritual growth. There's so much that we know consciously about ourselves, but then there's so much, as I said a few minutes ago, we have like 70,000 thoughts a day. There's so much going into our experience and the way we see the world and our perception that it's kind of impossible to keep up with all of it if you're not really writing it down. So I don't necessarily recommend doing a brain dump every time you journal. That's okay sometimes, but using your journal as a tool for clarity can be a very powerful exercise. So here's how you can do that. Having too many ideas can be paralyzing, first of all, because there's a lot of fear that goes into that. What is someone going to think if I act on this idea? Or what might someone say? Or what if they don't like it? Or, so a lot of times we know what we want to do, but the fear keeps us from actually doing it. So your journal can be a powerful tool for you to figure out what's actually behind you not being able to move forward. Is it because you have too many ideas, or is there something, a fear or a limiting belief? Right, so in your journal, you can start with if then. If I do such and such and such, then, and just start writing and see what consequences are you telling yourself will come about if you were to take action on this idea, or if you don't take action on another idea. That's the other side of it. A lot of times, we get shiny object syndrome. We see something, it sounds cool, sounds great, and we just fly with it because we think it's going to be super awesome. And then later you find out that maybe it wasn't so awesome. So doing a little journaling before you do anything can be very helpful to help you get clear on what do you actually think is going to happen if you take action, or what do you think will happen if you don't take action on this idea, and just figure out, are you acting based on purpose, or are you acting based on fear? Another thing you can do with journaling, hi, I see someone's joined. I can't tell who's joined, but thanks for hanging out with me today. The second way that you can use your journal is for powerful self-questioning. So in the morning, I like to start off with a prompt such as, I am inspired by, or I really feel motivated by. Things like that help you to kind of tap back into your core identity and your sense of purpose, so that you can always keep in mind what's most important to you. And what happens is, once you flip back through your journal, you'll see over time that even though you change and some of the things you do changes, your job, maybe your relationships change, your hobbies and interests, there's some things that always remain the same. I can flip back through journals that I've had where I wrote down what I was inspired by or what my big dream is like 10, 14 years ago, and I don't even remember writing that stuff, and I was in such a different headspace, but it's the same exact things that I write today about, inspiring women and building communities. And so if you had asked me all those years ago what my purpose was, I would have told you, I don't know. I have all these ideas and I don't know which direction to go in. But now I have a documented trail to see that I was actually just writing the same thing over and over again. It was just in different forms. So doing that kind of self-questioning, what am I inspired by? What do I believe? What motivates me? What am I most passionate about? What are the things that bother you, that every time you hear about it on the news or on your Facebook timeline, you just feel like I got to do something about this? Writing about things like that, about your passions, can really help you to keep a documented trail of that, so that when you start telling yourself that you have too many ideas and that you're getting confused, you can actually look back and see that there's some common ground, and you can use that to fall back on so that you can have clarity and give yourself permission to move forward. A lot of times, as I said, we know what we're here to do, and we get afraid of rejection, of failure, of success, of what other people are going to think, of the things we'll have to let go to move forward, or maybe what the new requirements will be for us that we'll actually have to show up and be seen. So there's all these fears that come into play, and if you realize you've been journaling about the same thing, that you've been fired up about the same thing for so long, then go ahead and give yourself permission to move forward in that. And your journal can be such a powerful, encouraging tool, like no other, that will help you to do that. So that was the second thing you can do. So we talked about carrying around a brain book so that you can jot down your ideas on the fly. We talked about keeping a journal daily, using it to ask yourself some powerful questions to get over your fears and to also remember what you're most inspired by. And the third tip that I have to help you deal with too many ideas is to start a blog. Now, blogging, this might sound counterintuitive because you might be saying, well, why would I start a blog if I don't really know what my idea is or where I'm going with it? And here's why. Blogging is a great pilot test for ideas. I'll tell you a little story. Several years ago, when I was in college, I used to run these little study groups, and I loved it. I found a method to approach your studies that would pretty much guarantee that you get an A unless you just don't want an A. And I proved this over and over again, and so I started to bring in other students and help them, and so they would come back to me after our study groups and show me their results, and it was just such a fulfilling experience. And I didn't have time to hold so many groups because I had a lot of students coming to me. So I figured, okay, let me just start this blog because people need to know this. There were so many students that were failing and couldn't really figure out what they needed to do. And so by providing them with these ways of approaching the material, and pretty much I was teaching them how to actually listen effectively, how to take notes properly, how to actually approach reading your textbooks when you have 200 pages a night to read. How are you supposed to balance that with everything else you have going? How to study effectively for exams, and how to pretty much guarantee yourself an A. It doesn't matter how difficult the course was. And so I wanted people to know this, and so I just put it up on a blog for free. And so I started blogging away, and about 2 weeks later I realized, like, man, I don't actually want to blog about this anymore. It just didn't feel fulfilling to me. And I wondered, okay, what is going on here? So here's what I learned. Starting a blog taught me that what I actually liked about that experience was building these groups in person, helping people to overcome challenges and being able to teach. That's what lit me on fire. Of course, I want students to have this information, but I want a lot of people to know a lot of things. It doesn't mean that I should be a professor in 80,000 different subjects. But what it does mean is that I love to teach. I love to help people that come to me with a problem where they've hit a wall, and to say, all right, cool, let's plow through this and provide solutions and ask them questions and help them come to their own solutions. That's what I really liked about it. So starting a blog about that particular topic was not necessarily my cup of tea. And if I hadn't started the blog, that could have turned into a disaster, because I had already started talking to my friends about maybe launching a tutoring business, or maybe I should have some kind of service where I do this and that. And if I had not started that little blog, I would not have known that I was not necessarily passionate about tutoring. I was passionate about teaching. So it was a matter of being able to go back and look at myself and see, how is this going to show up in a way that's fulfilling to me and that makes sense. So that's my story about how blogging helped me to overcome this idea of having too many ideas. So it's a good pilot test. If you have an idea and you think something is awesome, start blogging about it and just see, is this something that you actually really want to do? Because sometimes it might sound great, and then once you actually get running, you don't like it, it's not fulfilling, but you won't know that if you don't take a few steps. So you don't have to start a business or make a huge investment in every idea you have. Blogging is a great way for you to just kind of pilot test it. How passionate are you about writing about this? Can you come up with ideas to continue moving forward on this idea you have over and over again? Or do you run out of things to say after, a week and literally there's just nothing else there for you? So blogging will help you with that. Another thing is blogging can help you, as I said, to clarify your real intention behind something. So by writing about something you're interested in and something you're inspired by, it will help you. Even if you don't necessarily follow through with writing about that particular subject, you're going to get a lot more clarity on why you started writing in the first place, because that's an indication to you that there is something there for you to learn. So I guess my point here is that blogging is a way to take inspired action. If you stay in your head and you have 5 trillion ideas, you'll drive yourself nuts, or you won't take action on anything, or you could get impulsive and take action on something else that takes you completely off your path. So by starting with keeping that brain book, documenting the ideas that come to you and looking for those common grounds, by keeping a journal every day so that you get in the habit of writing about what you're inspired by, so that it's always kind of running in the back of your mind. That's going to help you so that when an idea comes to you, you'll be able to see, is this actually in alignment with who I am, or is it not? You'll get better at that over time. And launching a blog as the third and final way is a great pilot test for your ideas to see, is this something you really, really want to do? And you can't go wrong with blogging. It's a very safe way to put yourself out there and to get more clarity. So I hope that you have found these 3 tips helpful. As I said, if there's anyone who you think might find this helpful, I want you to share this video out on your timeline. And now I want to tell you about a Cyber Monday special that I have coming up. So on Cyber Monday, I am offering a 1-day only sale on my Express Yourself blogging bundle. And I wanted to do this because I hear so many people come to me all the time with so many ideas on things they want to do, and they're brilliant, absolutely brilliant, but there's a lot of overthinking. The overthinking moves to procrastination, moves to more overthinking. And so, as I said, launching a blog is a great way to go ahead and get some momentum and start getting that clarity. So I wanted to make the bar to entry very, very low. So I have knocked 50% off of this bundle, and you will never see the price this low again. So here's what you're going to get in the bundle. You're going to get a private 90-minute intensive with me. This is a one-on-one consultation where we can help you to set your blog up. If you already have a website or blog, I will do a complete review and give you some solutions so that you can improve and optimize your blog. We'll also, if you need help on the technical side to set up your WordPress blog, set up your about page, and to customize, we can work on that. And also get into some strategies to help you promote your blog and to put yourself out there and build your list. So that's one thing you'll get. The other thing you'll get in the bundle is my comprehensive workbook, which is a written version of my complete blogging course that is coming up very soon. So you will actually get the complete package to help you get started powerfully as a blogger and put yourself out there and let your words be heard, and also get the clarity that you need to move forward. So if you're interested in this, go on over to everythingshetouches.com/Cyber Monday and you can learn about that. I got to run because my little one just woke up from his nap. But thank you guys so much for joining me today, and I will see you soon.